When I was younger, I was a lot more involved with the theater than I ever was in college. I kind of do regret not being involved in theater during college. So I was involved in, pretty much every play possible, like, middle school through high school, ranging in different parts from mostly supporting cast. I didn't kiss enough butt to get main parts. I was looking through this box of things that I had gotten from my parents' house a few months ago, because, I'm on my own in the world, so I can take all my junk from their house. And I came across this. It's a newspaper article from one of the plays I was in I believe the 7th grade. Don't Rock the Boat. And this particular story will be, I was a boss. The show went on. I think it was actually the first performance, actually. It was a matinee during the school day, for all your classmates and whatnot, and so all of us young actors got out of class early to set up and whatnot. And backstage, I had knocked over a bottle of sparkling grape juice. Empty, of course. It was supposed to be our champagne for a later scene. And I'm like, oh no. So, I bent down and I cleaned it up and I threw it away. We had extras, so it was going to be okay. No big deal, really. So, I went about my business. I went, to the bathroom with the other girls to change and get ready and put on all of our, cake makeup and stuff. But I get into the bathroom and I go to take off my pants, and then I just notice, why is it, all wet and blood? My pants are just soaked through with blood. And I'm like, ugh! So I must have kneeled down on the glass. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna go to the office. We had, I think 45 minutes until show start. I'm really amazed that I didn't panic. I went to the office and I'm like, hey, I'm kind of bleeding everywhere. We want to do something about that? And they're all like, bloodborne pathogens! And so they told me that my banana bread's done. Excuse me. What can I say? I like to multitask. So yeah. So I got to the office and they took my pants away from me. They took my pants because it was a bloodborne pathogen. And of course a 7th grade girl in the Midwest has blood pathogens that could infect the entire school. But yeah. So I went and I sat back in the nurse's office and she looked at it and it's just like, this is past school nurse stuff. So they called my mom, and my mom left work, I believe, and she came and picked me up and we drove to the clinic. The doctor, saw me at once, looked at me, just took a little, numbed me in the knee, took some tweezers and picked out a small piece of glass, and I'm like, you just put in 2 stitches real quick, and then I went back and I performed in the play like a boss. So it was very hard, you can imagine, for a 7th grader to have the attention span to act, to remember all my lines, and not walk around all funny on my numb leg on stage in a... Let's see, am I wearing heels in this picture? No, they're not heels, but they're weird grown-up type shoes that I wasn't really used to wearing. But yeah, and especially because later in the show, there's, a scene where all us good guys chase the villains, a la Benny Hill, running back and forth across the stage and everything, all goofily, and my leg's numb. It was an experience. So the real kicker was when I got to the office after the play to get back my pants. I wasn't exactly gonna spend the rest of the school day in my stage costume. Not really. No thanks. It's called TA. It was used to pass out like school-wide notices and stuff like that. It wasn't particularly important. But no, I had to stay. Mom couldn't take me home because they wouldn't give me back my pants. They wouldn't give me back my pants because they're full of bloodborne pathogens. Even though I think any, like the school nurse, like I went to a big college where nursing was a thing. I know at least a lot about basic biology, and pretty much anyone who has a degree in biology or nursing worth their salt would know that as soon as after the blood dries, it's no longer like viable. You can't transmit things from dried blood. So my pants, after sitting in the nurse's office for like the hour and a half or so of the play, would have been dry. Nope, can't have my pants back. Also, even if there are blood-borne pathogens in my blood, it's my blood! They're my pants! If I put my pants on with my blood-borne pathogens, it can't hurt me. So, since America is now obsessed with children being obese, PE is, or was back then at least, required, of everyone, every day, all the time. Well, like every other day, you know how that schedule works. But you always have to take PE. Always. And for, like, an unpopular, nerdy person, it's kind of stereotypically awful. Because not only I enjoy sports, I enjoy being athletic, I'm just not particularly graceful and coordinated or good at it. So that's therefore bad. And it's also prime time bullying time, and then you can disguise it as athleticism. Like, yeah, I'm gonna dribble across the court with this basketball and pass it to Gretchen. I'm gonna pass it to her super hard so she can't catch it and it like jams her fingers or smashes in her face or stuff like that. So I didn't really enjoy PE. No. Now, I think it's the guidance counselor rather than any sort of administrator that creates the schedules for that particular school system. And I received my schedule, in it was January or whatever, or the very end of first semester, so then you know what classes you're taking next semester, so then you know your schedule on the first day of school after break. Well, I had gotten a schedule, and there was no PE day on it. I wasn't scheduled for PE. I had 2 study halls. And I'm like, fine by me. I read and drew a lot. Rather than lying and just telling them, like, oh, I can't do that, like, my PE clothes are at home getting washed, because you get all sorts of gross during PE. I'm not very good at lying. So I told the truth, and I'm like, well, I don't have PE clothes. I don't have PE. And they're like, so I'm like, you didn't schedule me for PE. They're like, oh, well, meh. So my mother had to come back and bring me clothes again. Bring me clothes for like 10 minutes. And then she couldn't just take me home when there were only like 10 minutes left of school. she had to wait in the parking lot. That school system is really dumb. And so then, I think it was the next day after that, I got called into, of course, the principal's office. And I think one of the PE teachers was there, because there were two of them, a man and a woman. Because, so they could monitor, the boys' locker room and the girls' locker room, kind of thing. Unlike in Extrand, where Mr. Spurgeon just monitored both of them. That was really creepy. I don't think he's teaching anymore. I think he went to jail. I'm not sure. Because in the 5th grade was when you actually started changing for PE. So you went to the locker room. And only the 5th graders got to use the locker room. And I do remember changing and Mr. Spurgeon coming into the locker room. Yeah. And I was one of those, girls that, I started having breasts in, the 4th grade. Yeah. But yeah, anyway. So I'm in the principal's office. And I think they had already spoken on the phone with one of my parents. Probably my father, because he was the one that always took me to school pretty much for the rest of the semester. Because for the rest of the semester, I had to come in at 7 in the morning, and then I was supposed to make up every hour of PE that I missed. I think this was supposed to be a punishment, but I think they kind of failed. I mean, I didn't enjoy getting up at 7. Well, if I had to be there at 7. I didn't really enjoy getting up at 6:30 or something in the morning. Not particularly. Yeah, it was that time, because my father would, get up, and he would go to work, because he had a commute to go to work, and I'm changing the... Yeah, I laid it on the table and my camera's shaking. But yeah. And he would, drop me off at school, and then I would go in, and I would, I think I would, check in with the PE teacher and whatnot, and then I would, do my thing. But the thing is I was always unsupervised. He knew when I came, and then he never checked up on me or made sure that I was doing anything. I mean, I did, but I just changed the radio. I turned the music on. I changed the radio station to something I wanted. Many times, I just brought in a book. I would because like I said, I multitask. So I would sit on the bike, and I would prop a book open on the handlebars, and I would just leisurely bike while reading for an hour until school started. So I think I won overall. Well, not necessarily, because then they actually did take away one of my study halls and made me be in PE. But it was either cooperate or, you're a 7th grader, you really have to cooperate. You can't really go, damn the man, and do stuff against the system. Not really. But yeah, I could cooperate and, actually actively try and make up what I've done. Or they would take away my end of the year field trip to Wacky Waters. And I wasn't going to let that happen.